Have you ever just stared at a conversation that simply stopped? No fight, no argument, no clear reason. The person was there, present, replying, and suddenly, silence. You send a text, delivered, read, maybe. No reply. You wait a day, 2 days, a week, and then begins that exhausting mental process of trying to figure out what went wrong. Did I say something wrong? Did I come on too strong? Did I not do enough? Is she okay? Did he just not care about me the whole time? And the worst part isn't the absence itself. The worst part is that you can't stop thinking about it, even when you want to. Even when you try, even days, weeks, sometimes months later, that unfinished conversation keeps playing on a loop in your head, like a song you can't get out of your mind. This isn't weakness. It's not being too clingy. It's not you being dramatic. It's neuroscience. It's your brain doing exactly what it was hardwired to do when faced with something that has no end, no explanation, no closure. Today, I want to help you understand what actually happens when someone pulls a disappearing act on you, why it hurts in such a specific, deep way, and what you can do with that pain instead of letting it consume you. Let's take it slow. You're in the right place. Number 1, your brain treats social rejection like physical pain. Literally, there's a famous study from the University of Michigan that showed something that will change how you understand ghosting. When people who had recently gone through social rejection were put in a brain scanner and shown pictures of the person who rejected them, the exact same regions of the brain that process physical pain lit up. The exact same ones. Not similar regions. The very same regions that fire up when you break a bone or take a punch. Your brain doesn't distinguish between she ghosted me for no reason and I got punched in the face. The pain is processed in the exact same place. That's why when someone ghosts you and people around you say, "Get over it, it's no big deal," it's just one person. The disconnect between their advice and what you're feeling is massive, because what you are feeling is physically real. It's not an overreaction. It's biology. Number 2, ghosting opens a loop your brain can't close. The human mind has a very specific relationship with unfinished things. In psychology, this is called the Zeigarnik Effect, and it basically says this: our brains remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks way better than completed ones. Think of a movie that cuts to black before the ending, a TV show that got canceled mid-season, a sentence left hanging in the air. That feeling of incompleteness creates a cognitive loop. Your brain keeps going back to that open file trying to process it, trying to find a resolution that never came. Ghosting is exactly that. It's a relationship without a declared ending. There was no closure talk. There was no, "this isn't going to work out between us." So your brain goes searching for the ending, replaying conversations, rereading texts, making up scenarios, trying to make sense out of nonsense. It's not obsession. It's your nervous system trying to complete what was left open. The problem is, it's never going to succeed because the closure you need is never going to come from the outside. It can only come from within. Number 3, ambiguity is crueler than a clear rejection. Here's something counterintuitive that psychology backs up. A straight up no hurts in the moment, but it heals faster. Ghosting hurts less right away, but it eats away at you for much longer. Why? Because a no closes the loop. It hurts, but it's data. You know what happened. You can process it. You can cry, get mad, accept it, and move on. But when someone vanishes without an explanation, you don't have enough information to process. You're stuck in a limbo between 2 equally possible storylines. She just wasn't into it, and maybe there's still a chance. And that limbo is where the pain truly lives. Not in the certainty of rejection, but in the uncertainty of not knowing for sure if it was a rejection. The brain prefers a painful truth over endless doubt, and ghosting hands you the worst of both worlds. Pain without truth. Number 4, ghosting messes with your own narrative about yourself. When a relationship ends with a conversation, you have versions, you have context. You know there was an incompatibility, or the timing was off, or your expectations were different. You have something concrete to work with in your head. When someone disappears, you don't get any of that. And since the human mind hates a vacuum, it fills the blank space with the most readily available story. And the most available story is usually about you. I pushed too hard. I wasn't interesting enough. There's something fundamentally wrong with me that made this person walk away without even giving me the respect of an explanation. That isn't true, but it feels true when you're sitting in the dead silence. And repeating that story to yourself day in and day out starts to hurt in a way that goes way beyond that specific person. It starts damaging your self-esteem, your willingness to open up again, your core belief that you deserve to be treated with basic respect. And this is where ghosting turns into something much more serious than just romantic disappointment. It can become an identity wound if you don't realize what's happening. Number 5, the person who ghosts is rarely a monster. And understanding this doesn't mean letting them off the hook. This part is tough, but I think it's important to talk about it because it might help you carry a little less weight. Most people who ghost don't wake up in the morning plotting to hurt you. They're running away. They run from hard conversations. They run from the discomfort of saying something that might cause conflict or sadness. They flee from the emotional responsibility that a closure talk demands. Ghosting, in most cases, is avoidance. It's emotional immaturity. immaturity. It's the inability to manage their own anxiety to the point where they'd rather just vanish into thin air than face the music. That doesn't make the behavior okay. You deserved an answer. You deserved respect. You deserved at least a, hey, I'm just not in this headspace anymore, no matter how brief. That is a fact. And that doesn't change. But when you understand that ghosting says way more about the emotional capacity of the person who left than it does about your worth, it gets a little easier to take that weight off your shoulders. You didn't fail. You just crossed paths with someone who hasn't learned how to have hard conversations yet. Those are two very different things. Number 6, what your nervous system does while you wait for a text that's never coming. There's a psychological mechanism called intermittent reinforcement, and it is one of the most powerful and addictive things our brains can experience. It's the exact same principle that keeps slot machines in business. You don't win every time, but you win sometimes. And that unpredictability is exactly what builds the addiction. When someone ghosts you out of nowhere, especially after a period of high attention and connection, your nervous system goes into a state of high alert and waiting. Every phone notification could be her. Every buzz could be him. And when it isn't, you feel a tiny drop of disappointment. But the hope doesn't fade. It sticks around, just waiting for the next ping. That cycle of hope and letdown is chemically exhausting. It spikes your cortisol, the stress hormone. It keeps your nervous system in a constant state of hypervigilance. And the longer you stay in that state waiting for something that isn't coming, the harder it is to switch it off. So if you're feeling totally drained after being ghosted, even if the situationship felt too brief to justify this level of exhaustion, now you know why. Your body has literally been working overtime this whole time. Number 7. And this is the most crucial takeaway of this whole video. The closure you need isn't coming from the outside. I know you want an answer. I know a part of you still pictures that text coming through with an explanation that suddenly makes it all make sense. And I get that completely because our brains are literally wired to hunt for exactly that. But here is what I've learned and what psychology backs up. Waiting for closure from the person who ghosted you is handing the remote control of your healing over to someone who has already proven they won't take responsibility for your pain. Real closure, the kind that actually lets you move on, doesn't start when they finally text back. It starts when you decide that the story you tell yourself about what happened no longer needs their side of it to be complete. It means acknowledging, I don't know exactly why this person bailed, and it's okay not to know. What I do know is that I deserved better than dead air, and this pattern says something about where they were at emotionally, not about my value. This doesn't happen overnight. It's not some dramatic light bulb moment. It's a small choice you make over and over again. Every time the loop starts playing, every time you catch yourself scrolling through old texts, every time you start writing fiction about what you did wrong, you gently interrupt yourself and remember, I've already decided I don't need that answer to move forward. Over time, the loop opens less and less, and one day, it just stops. You deserve relationships where people stay in the room, even for the hard conversations, where the basic human decency of a, this isn't working, is offered, even if it stings, where your time and your feelings are handled with care. That exists out there. And the more you heal from the experiences that taught you to settle for less, the more capable you become of recognizing and receiving what you actually deserve. If this video touched on something you're carrying right now, let me know in the comments. Have you gone through this recently? Are you still trying to process it? Talk to me. This space is yours. And if you want to keep diving deeper into these patterns, the next video is going to break down love bombing and breadcrumbing, this cycle of affection bombing followed by breadcrumbs of attention that gets your nervous system hooked in a way most people don't even realize they're experiencing. If you've ever felt like a relationship seemed way too good in the beginning and then cooled off in a confusing, painful way, that video was made for you. Take it slow. You're growing.